you give it just like...
No, that's fine. You can start.
Are you sure? This says LB is the year on my personal account.
Ah. I'm not Leanne.
Don't share that. Discard video.
Technical difficulties.
One moment, please. There you go.
First day.
Plus. You got it.
We did it.
Whew.
Live.
Alright, first things first. Just want everyone to know we're doing a double live right now, so if it ever looks like I'm not looking, or we're not looking at one camera or the other, just know that we're looking at two cameras at the same time right now, so it's slightly confusing. If we seem a little off, that's why. Second, I just want to kind of reintroduce us because I know we've gotten a ton more followers recently, and we just kind of want to touch base with you guys and explain like what we're doing here.
Hello.
Hello. So I am Leanne Polidor, and this is Nick Polidor. We are husband and wife, and we own Hemlock and Hyde. Welcome. Hi guys. So just to give you kind of like a real, everyone asks us this question, so we'll kind of give you a real quick rundown of like how we got started. But so Nick is trying to make the cameras closer together. Hemlock and Hyde is a leather goods company. We make everything ourselves.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is. So we both went to art school. That's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
I was working a full-time job in a textiles company. Nick was working for Whole Foods. I was an art director, and Nick was in store management. And
It's all true so far.
yeah, so far so good. And but we always still like to make things, no matter what. And I was really working in the textiles in fashion for the most part. We did do home stuff too, but it was mostly fashion. And so a friend of ours worked at a shoe store. The window display people had put in this beautiful window display of vintage leather hides, and when they came to take it down, he happened to be there that day, and he asked them, like, what do you guys do with all that leather once you take it down? And they're like, we're just going to throw it out back in the trash. So he's like, well, can I have it? Because I feel like I know some people who could maybe do something with it. And so, he arrived at our then apartment with a trunk full of vintage leather hides. We kind of priced it out. We think it was about $3,000 worth at the time. And that leather stayed with us from that apartment in Philadelphia to our first home in Philadelphia that we purchased. And it was there that we kind of started Hemlock and Hyde. I had taken a couple weeks off of work to do something on the house, and whatever I was doing, it was delayed because a part I needed was delayed in shipping. And so I'm just not the type of person that can sit there and do nothing. And I was like, oh, we have that leather upstairs. Maybe I could do something with that. And so I made these little leather catch-all bowls that had like vintage fabric on the inside. You know, something you put by your door to throw your keys in, that sort of thing. Nick saw me make those, and he was like, ooh, I want to try making some wallets. Meanwhile, I had never really seen him so much, so I was kind of skeptical. But he did a really great job, and then he kind of looked at me and was like, I feel like we can make a business out of this. And Nick is very business-minded, so I trusted him, and I was like, all right, let's try. And kind of...
It's the graph paper.
Yeah. And it kind of just went from there. So we really started off doing a couple small things, but very quickly I knew I wanted to do bags. I had made a couple tote bags.
Yeah, you made like, it was like kind of like two-tone, like
Yeah.
leather bottoms with fabric tops that were like vintage.
Yeah, I used like feed sack.
Yeah, feed sack.
For like the top 2/3 and the bottom third was leather that I had got. It was chrome tan yucky leather I got from
probably like
Fabric Row, I think, in Philly.
3 ounces maybe.
Yeah, it was thin.
Really pilly on the back, beautiful stuff.
I lined those bags though because of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I made those bags before, and those I just made one for myself, and I think I made one for my mom. But I really enjoyed that process and making those, and I'm not really even like particularly.
Do we still have any of those?
My mom definitely still has her bag.
Sally.
I have no idea where my bag is. I bet you we do have it.
It's probably in the
somewhere.
closet somewhere.
Yeah, we probably have it. We should find it. My mom definitely has hers though.
There's still boxes in our attic that we haven't really touched since we moved, so
Yes, that is
probably. Yep, she still has hers.
true. So can YouTube ask questions? No, just Instagram.
I think
There's
they
not
both can. We just don't get questions on YouTube.
Okay.
All that one
Oh,
person
I
is
see.
excited.
Yeah. We have a lot of people on Instagram and not so many people on YouTube, but that's why we're
fine.
trying to do both, so we can kind of work on both at the same time. But yeah, so I had made some bags before, enjoyed that process, and I was like, if we're gonna do this, I want to do bags. I really liked. I'm not particularly. That's what I was saying. I'm not particularly like a bag person in the sense that like I want to have a million bags and like I'm really into like labels or anything like that or designer bags even. I really like to have like one or two bags that I love and I just kind of use them for like long periods of time and switch in between. Nick did get me a Coach bag one year for Christmas.
That's what you wanted.
And I really did love that bag. I still have that bag. And so yeah, so I'm not like the type of person who like has a million bags and I'm constantly switching in and out of them. I really like to have like high quality stuff and stick to that for long periods of time.
Someone's asking where we got all our machines from.
It's a good question.
That's a big question. I'll write it down. Machines question mark.
Okay. We will answer that shortly.
Maybe.
Maybe?
Just keep going.
We'll answer. It's fine. So yeah, so anyone wants to make bags? We argue
Then
about
we started doing shows.
kind of.
We moved, and then we started doing shows.
No.
No. Did we do shows in the old house?
Yes. You think we did shows just at this house?
No, from the apartment.
Oh, we never did shows in the apartment.
That's
We
what I'm
only
saying.
did.
So
Yeah, but we're already in the new house at this point. We've moved. The leather has come with us. I took the time off of work.
you know
I
what I'm
made
doing.
the
I don't know what I'm
ketchup.
doing.
He doesn't remember. So we started this business as basically a side hustle. Nick was working full time. I was working full time. We had no children at the time. Made it a lot easier. Well, to do both
Pro
at the
tip,
same
don't have kids and run a business at the same time.
No, pro tip, don't have kids, a full-time job, and run a business at the
Okay.
same time. You need
Well,
one
you
of
gotta
these
start
needs
somewhere,
to
so.
drop. Yeah.
Pro tip, do that.
Yeah.
And then be very happy about your life for a while.
So we started I started designing bags. We argue about which was the first bag I designed, but I think it's the Phoebe. I'm pointing at it because it's here. We have a navy blue one with us at the moment. I'm pretty sure this was my first bag design that like within the we're starting a business, let's make bags place. And it is still with us and it's still one of our best sellers, which is really cool. But yeah, so we started working with the vintage hides that our friend had given us. We kind of like made the Phoebe, the Greta, and the Stella. And like you made some
And a market bag.
wallets. Some market. Oh,
The square Margot, basically.
was that before the Margot? No, I think the Margot was first, and then I made the market bag. So the Margot must have been part of that very first.
Oh, really? I thought the market bag was first and then you made the Margot.
But I think I made both of those bags with new leather. I don't think I made them with vintage leather.
Yeah, that's true. I
So,
think.
anyways, at some point, we got through the vintage hides, and
Let me in, please.
knew that we loved what we were doing and we wanted to keep going. And in order to do that, like we first looked into sourcing more vintage hides and realized how difficult that was. And
Yeah, not consistent enough, and
yeah, just
we would be
hard to find.
repurposing all different kinds of weights and ounces. It would have been really tough.
Definitely. And so then Nick started researching new leather and like what that means and kind of what that looks like. And so in the research, he realized, okay, there's two like main kind of ways that leather is tanned. It's either chrome tan or veg tan. Nowadays, there's lots of like in between as well. But in looking at those two, we knew, okay, definitely we want to do veg tan. It's better for the environment. You don't use chemicals in the tanning process. And the type of leather that you end up with is, for me, the type of leather that I really wanted to work with. It starts out kind of stiff and you break it in over time. It patinas over time and gets darker and takes on kind of a life of its own. And I just loved that. And the fact that we started by working with vintage leather, we knew we wanted to...
Leon's also very short, which is why I'm sitting.
That is accurate.
I'm just a normal human.
He's only 5'8". But yeah, so I knew, because we started with vintage hides, I knew whatever leather we worked with, I wanted it to be sustainable as possible, environmentally friendly as possible, and so veg tan 100%. Then we found out one of the last veg tanneries is in our home state of Pennsylvania, which is Wicket and Craig, and we were like, heck yes. So we got some samples from them. I think we got samples from a couple other places too.
Yeah, we did. We got a bunch, and then we really just kept coming back to Wicket and Craig because we liked the way it looked, how it felt.
Yeah.
It wasn't, the bridle wasn't super shiny.
Yes.
Yeah, there was just a lot of things.
The colors
liked
were
about
really
it.
good. Yeah. So, so yeah, and so in that we started, okay, we're definitely starting a company, we need a name. And we started trying to figure out what we wanted to name this company. And we played with lots of different things with our name and things like
really
that.
Weird. It's really not easy.
It's not.
It's not an easy thing to do.
But because I knew that I really wanted us to stick with veg tan, I was like, well, if there's some way to tie in like the veg tanning process into the name, and so that's how Hemlock and Hyde was born, because they use a lot of hemlock bark in the tanning process and the veg tanning process. And so that's kind of why we went with Hemlock and Hyde, because people ask
It's
us.
also the Pennsylvania state trait.
We didn't know that when we named it, and we found that out much later.
Yeah, like this year.
Yeah, that is true.
I was doing my book report on Pennsylvania state stuff, and that's what came up.
So yeah, so from there, Nick, we did our first show. Nick built our website. From the sales of our first show, which were...
We launched everything simultaneously. Like
Yes.
our website, we had an Etsy at the time, our brand, and then the first collection all came out at once.
Yeah. And...
Which we were leading up to that for probably like
a year.
A solid year.
What we had tried, like we always try to remember our story, and I think we've like really...
What were some runner-up names? Oh, geez. Well,
stuff with our name
I was
in it.
I
like
was
Polydor.
really looking into doing something name-based, but it really just never worked out.
Yeah.
So one of the runner-ups was just like a different spelling of Hyde.
I don't remember them. I'm surprised you remember. I knew that we tried stuff with our
I
name.
have a notebook full of like scribbles.
Oh, do you?
But yeah, I guess that was kind of. There was like probably 4 or 5 like something and somethings.
It was also
like Pine.
2016, 2017.
Yeah,
so like this
we're
and
a product
that.
of that era.
Yes.
But
That's fine. We're sticking with it.
HH.
Yeah, that's fine. So
That's a
yeah.
good question.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so we did our first shows. We launched the website. The first show we did was like relatively successful. Like
Yeah.
we were both, I think, happy and surprised.
Surprised.
Yeah,
And we did. Did we start with wax canvas?
at that show.
I think we did.
I truly cannot remember.
Because I'm pretty sure I had like that weekender made
Yeah, and some totes.
and some
Probably.
totes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so
we did.
we had some wax canvas mixed with leather, like leather
And like
handles.
dog leashes and
Yes.
like the really normal standard things you'd
That
expect to
people
see at
start
a leather
with.
booth.
Yeah,
is what we
wallets,
started with.
belts, dog leashes, and then of course our bags. Is there a doff kit maybe? I don't think so.
Maybe.
Probably not at that
Maybe
time.
the canvas one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyways, so with the money that we made from our first show, we bought our burnisher, which answers one of your questions. Where do we get our machines?
Well, we bought the machine. This first, right? Because we got that. and
I still
I
don't.
ordered it in April, and it got to us in June.
So yes, because
So
our first
we
show
did
was
get the
like
sewing
October
machine
or
first because we
September.
had a Singer Patcher machine that
That's right.
we used and got off of Craigslist,
Yes.
um,
It was like a
and
trouble.
learned on.
Yeah. And then we realized, okay, well, we know we definitely want to do bags. We know we definitely want a cylinder arm. And that was kind of like the one piece of equipment we bought with full, just like faith and nothing else behind us. Like we hadn't sold anything yet.
Did
so
you go to farmers markets, trade shows, or both? So we didn't do any trade shows.
it was more like craft shows, I would
Yeah.
call them. Like
They were
maker shows.
maker craft shows,
Yeah.
with like some antique stuff, but not just antique.
Yeah, and by
um,
antique, I would even say like
found
vintage.
objects.
Yeah.
People make candles, people make tea.
Clothing.
So it's almost a little bit small business. It was really small business oriented, is what I would say,
And these were also shows that,
in a nice part of town.
yes, and that I had shopped at for like literal years before ever going as like a.
Will you be making new leashes and collars? So
No.
we dropped them a long time ago.
Yeah.
Almost for similar reasons we dropped belts. Belts
Yeah.
were really difficult to sell online. In person, it's fine, you can try it on, but online, it was like Return City, and
People
be
do
honest,
not know what
the
their
amount of
sizes are.
pleasure we get out of making
Yeah.
those things was minimal. So
Yeah.
we
That's
try to focus on the things we really love to do,
Yeah.
and then like just lean into that as heavily as possible.
Yeah, and I agree.
Are you
That's
working long hours in your workshop or just normal 7-8? Typically it's 7-8. These days we're putting a couple more extra hours in because we're a little bit behind on some of the orders, and then we have our May order week is coming up in a couple days.
So
So we're
hustling.
trying to get ahead of it,
It's okay.
or at least even with it.
Yeah, even would be good.
Good. Those are good.
Yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, so I'm like, where was I? So we bought the furniture, got the sewing machine, and we were kind of like, here we go.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of went from there. We were both working our full-time jobs at the same time. There were definitely a handful of times where we're like, why are we doing this? Like, let's stop doing this.
Let's stop doing this. Is this working? Who
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you? Get
Yeah.
out of my house.
Yeah. But then, things were going relatively good. We got married, all that good stuff.
Had a child.
Yeah, well, so
Later.
2018, so we launched the business, like technically August 2017. July 2018 or August 2018 is when I quit my job. And the plan was basically for me to stay home for at least a year, raise Wes, our son, and work on Hemlock and Hyde at the same time. Give it more of a good
Ambitious.
effort. Yeah. Just give it more of a go and see what happens. Things were going really well, and then of course the pandemic hit, and so we couldn't do shows anymore.
Mhm.
And from there, we're like, well, how do we reach our audience if we can't physically be in front of them? And then we started doing lives.
So we kind of were able to, with the markets, to kind of define the spiel that we talked about about our stuff, like
Yeah.
locally made, locally sourced
Sourced,
leather. Some of them, like the one in Chestnut Hill, like we made this down the street from that. So like it was really
Right,
cool to
because
say
we were
that to
living in that
people.
area at the time, and Chestnut Hill was like, you could walk there.
And we got to know like the common questions people would ask us at shows, or like what they were looking for, how many thousands of pockets they wanted per bag,
In zippers.
and how many zippers they wanted.
Yeah. And we had also had some press too. That
Yeah.
April 2020.
And we met people that eventually led to press,
Yes.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
and
So
going into the Philadelphia Museum of Art as well.
that's right. Yeah, we started selling our stuff through the gift shop in the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
Like a limited selection stuff.
Yes, and then we got into Philly Mag,
Yes.
and that was April 2020.
And to me, that's like the kickoff of like
Yes.
when it started to be, in my opinion, a real business and
Yeah.
not just like a hobby. We saw almost instant website traffic from that.
It was the combination. I mean, honestly, for us, it was
Plus-
we worked hard, but it was
And that
perfect
came out
timing.
March 2020, right?
April 2020 is when the magazine came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
So we had The
and
pandemic
then
was going
that's when
on.
everything
People were
shut
home
down.
and bored. We started doing a ton of lives,
Mhm.
and the magazine had come out, and so like all of that combined together to get us a much wider audience. And we kind of realized doing the lives, like, whoa, people are actually
Enjoying
watching this and enjoying it and asking questions. That's cool. And we can actually reach way more people online than you can in person at a show. Like, we were probably reaching, like, you know,
couple
thousand at a show, but like doing online, like, you're endless
and then, like,
potential.
If we're lucky, like 100 people like would interact a little bit with us.
Right, at the shows, yeah. So, yeah, and we just kind of just kept doing that, kind of kept on going, just, right? I'm like, I don't think there's any other, like, giant.
When you did shows, did you bring inventory or were they made to order? That's a great question.
That is a great
we
question.
did bring inventory, and
Yes.
that's why we haven't been able to do shows recently.
Right.
So we kind of tried to have like one of each color of each design.
Yep.
And then
In person.
a couple maybe backups, like 2.
Yep.
It was not a lot of fun to carry that much inventory like around. It was really stressful, especially if it rained or if it was windy.
I also secretly loved it. He definitely does not like it as much as I do.
I didn't. I liked it once we were set up and like ready.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. The physical.
getting the stuff in the car,
Yeah.
setting up. I didn't really mind that much, but like I liked being ready.
Yeah.
I wish that like it could be a tent for like multiple days, so that like it was
Yes.
worth the effort
Yeah.
it takes to do it, because it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work.
If I almost wish we could have like almost like an ice cream shop, or ice cream.
Like an ice cream shop.
I mean like a food truck, but like people could. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like just like constantly set
Come
up,
on.
and
Like a mobile dentist.
you just like open it.
Blood drive.
Yeah, blood drive. There you go. Yeah, that's kind of like how we. That's like the very long-winded version
It was.
of how we got started.
And then we found success online through lives, and
Yeah.
have tried to like improve on that ever since, basically.
Yeah.
And then many more bag designs have come out
Launches,
and gone.
pre-orders. We did hats,
We have hats.
all kinds of things. Still technically have hats.
Hello from Derbyshire, England. Hello. Hi, James. Still understanding.
So how do we say?
Feel free.
Oh.
So we do this weekly, and
Yes.
feel free to ask questions.
Yes, that is why we're here. We're here to share what we're doing, what we're up to, but also we love answering your guys' questions. It makes this
Use guys'.
use guys's. There's my jersey coming out in me. That's what we like to do. So it always makes it more fun.
Sometimes. How do you select your clients? So we open up once a month for a week, and
Yes. We should, just back up for just a second. So, we used to be open to orders 24/7.
on a rolling basis,
7
like
days a
every
week.
other website in the world.
Right. We have very recently, starting this year, January, changed our order process. So, if you're interested in ordering bag, understanding this is important.
We were finding that the lead time on bags shipping was like 6 to 8 weeks, and it was getting longer. And one of our goals was to shorten that. So one ways we can do that is to batch what is sold and try to be more efficient with our production. So order week is from the 1st to the 8th, unless we sell out of all the slots that we can possibly produce in a month. So
Which tends to happen.
which tends to happen. It's happened every month except for one.
Yeah.
But we probably should have shut it down.
Yes, we should have.
That was my fault.
It's okay.
Um,
I also pushed you to keep it open, I think.
well, we weren't. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so
It's
that's the
about
opportunity to
us.
order, and then we shut down for the rest of the month, and then produce. And then that happens every month.
Yes.
So, and then we have. You can sign up for a newsletter, or you can sign up on the product page of the bag you want to be notified when that becomes available. We do a special thing for our newsletter group that they get the first dibs on orders. So
Right, because that does tend to I guess technically sell out. We do give our newsletter people a bit of a head start.
get a head start because we love you. I love watching y'all's video. Your work is amazing. So
Thank
clean
you.
and crisp, crunchy.
Crunchy.
They didn't say that.
No, it's
Oh
fine.
my God, where did you get that lid opener? Oh, this it's a jar opener.
Yeah, it's just a jar opener that my parents always had one in like the junk drawer when I growing up and I always loved it because
Do you struggle opening your large container? Well,
I have got it.
but wait, there's more.
Yeah. I'm sure if you go on Amazon and like search like lid opener or jar opener, it would come up. I'm sure they're like.
This one says Kitchwit. Kichwit. It's funny.
What?
So Leanne's working on the last of the Sally pre-orders.
Yes.
This is the very last one going out. And then Betty pre-orders is the next goal.
Yes.
And we still have one batch of navy to go out as
Yep.
well, the mini lunas.
Then we're just back to.
So then we're at zero,
Normal.
square zero. So if you're waiting for any of those, we're definitely
Just-
working on it.
Yeah, just know it's coming.
Um,
Try my best.
trying my best. Then all those designs will return in June for June order week.
Yeah, so navy will come back, and so will the Betty and the Sally.
Betty and Sally.
And then we do have plans
Sally.
for.
This is the Sally.
Yes, that's the literal prototype, which is now
This is
mine.
Leanne's.
Yeah. Should probably open it.
What? You want to see inside?
No.
Got a zipper pocket.
Also, just keep in mind it is. You should maybe open this one I just finished. This
That's
envelope.
fine. I'm not gonna unzip it. But the strap is removable.
Yes, it was designed really to be a wallet, but then I can't help myself, so I added a strap.
In a bag.
And so it can either be a wallet if you want to take the strap fully off, or a clutch, which I really love that. And then, or you can wear it as a bag. And so we do have plans. We're thinking the end of May to have another design week. So basically, all that means is I get a week to like try to design as many things as humanly possible. No, the things that are in my head. Oh, does it?
Those flat weights you guys used.
It
What?
disappears. Can we see them? Oh.
So new to YouTube.
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. Sorry, guys, we're just
man.
figuring out
Just for food.
things.
Kids are great. They force you to take a break. True. How often do you do new releases? Okay. So we usually do a spring and a fall drop of designs. This is what?
Why'd it go away?
Those flat weights you guys purchase, where do you get them? Those are from Wawak.
Yes, highly recommend. They're inexpensive. They work great. They're nice and clean
They're
and
not that-
slick on the bottom.
They're not super expensive. They're not cheap
Oh,
to
I
ship.
know,
They're heavy.
obviously.
But yeah, Wawak's great.
And they ship crazy fast. I'm assuming it has something to do with where we're located, but Yeah,
Give me this
here's-
little.
here's the Sally and Olive. This person specifically requested to not have the logo gold foil stamp. Instead, they wanted it just regular heat pressed in there. You guys can see that, which is always an option with all of our
Another
bags.
thing to note on customization, we can change strap lengths for you.
Yes.
So like if you're a tall person, or you just want more room
Or
or
a short
whatever,
person.
or a short person, you can get in touch with us if you need the strap different than what we offer already.
Yeah.
That's an easy
We
thing.
always offer that. Yeah. An interior. So it's got the 3 slots for cards. You can definitely put more than one card in each slot. It's got a zipper pocket and another pocket at the back. And it opens up, like, it's kind of looking really flat right now, but it's because there's nothing in it. And I just finished making it, so. That's layout. It's very satisfying, that closure.
This is so funny. Why doesn't it just stay there?
I don't know, it's very weird here. Have you seen demand increase now that you've changed your ordering process? Yes.
Yeah, so we were kind of trying to curb how many orders we got, and it actually made it worse in that sense,
Well,
in some ways. But
not worse.
the batching is has been very
the
helpful.
batching part has been incredibly helpful for us because we're just working, like our productivity is just much higher than it was, being able to batch, you know, same design, same color together. And then for me personally, like mentally, it's much better because it's not this like ever going thing. I feel like there's like an end and then a start and then an end and a start every month. So like that feels really good. Although this month is a little because of the pre-orders
we did a lot this
and
month.
the new color and everything.
And last month.
It made it a little funky, but it's been very helpful.
Let's see. What glue or adhesive do you recommend? We use Barge and Fabri-Tac.
We use Fabri-Tac the most.
Yeah. This is like minimal smell, and it's great if you're gonna sew over something. You can just use it, and it dries really fast.
It dries crazy fast. You only have to put it on one side
and like
too.
you can. Oops. No, it's a screw. These are different.
Yeah.
And like it has like a little bit of a way it makes it easy. It's like not like a needle tip, but it's more pointed than just brushing it on like Barge. And then Barge is just used anywhere we don't sew, which is very few things.
Yeah, and the other part that I really like about the Fabri-Tac is that it does dry very quickly, but like unlike Barge, where like as soon as the two pieces touch, they're stuck there. This like you have time to shift around a little bit and get it to where you want it before you put any clips on or anything.
And if you totally mess up, you can actually rip it and then redo it.
Yeah, it doesn't completely destroy it.
Have you done any hand stitching to that, or just machine stitch? So these are all we do very minimal hand stitching.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just like right around this. I don't even know if you can see.
I do hand tie all of the ends.
That's true. It's
And
a little
then
nice detail.
the new Betty wallets, there is more hand stitching in them.
Okay, great. I've been waiting for something that screams out at me so I can purchase one. I absolutely love you, no matter what you guys make, everything. Oh, jeez. YouTube, I'm not used to this. It just goes away.
There's not a real way to say it, so sorry.
I agree. Everything's so cohesive and aesthetic and it feels. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
So I noticed the EPS on the 26. Would you please share pros and cons? I have a 26 and thinking about adding one. So we're gonna add it.
Do it.
We're
Never
gonna
ask that.
add
Do
the
it.
second one. Like our first machine doesn't have one,
Yeah.
and then we got the second one with the EPS.
And I'm obsessed.
So now we have to get EPS for the other one. It was funny. Leanne used this machine yesterday, the other one,
Yeah.
and she was like pressing the foot pedal, expecting it to do its thing,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
And I was like, what is this?
And you can set it to be needle up or needle down. So depending on where you put your foot. So right now, for us, when we tap forward, it goes forward one stitch, and is in the bottom.
So that's
center.
actually not completely true. This part helped me. This made me like it a lot. So like when you're starting, the needle's up. If you push it, it'll just go straight down.
To the next one.
Yeah, but it's just gonna go straight down. It's not gonna like
But
go down and do a stitch.
Yeah,
but
but
then
that's
if you
the next
press it
one,
one time after that, yeah, it'll do one stitch, one stitch, and then you can press the back part of the pedal, and it'll go straight up. And it has made my life so much better. It also makes the stitches just more consistent because it's essentially like a computer making sure that it's like going the same distance every single time. It's not up to like my foot to make it perfect.
So we highly recommend it.
So yeah, that's
And we're gonna add it probably after one of these order weeks with some extra money to get the other one outfitted. Let's see. In the UK, people prefer more hand stitching. Interesting. Yeah, we moved away from hand stitching pretty quick. We did set up our machine to look like aesthetically similar to it,
yes.
because that's what we like. I totally understand that people love hand stitching, and doing like a saddle stitch is an incredibly strong stitch.
Honestly, it's just like it's the business of like
Well, to be honest, if we were to hand stitch bags, the amount of time it would take, we would be charging like 10, 20 times what we sell these for.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different customer, a totally different business model. There's a lot of people out there doing that kind of thing, which is awesome. In the US, I think people find a lot of success with like wallets and that kind of thing because you can do those quick and it's not a ton of stitching. But if we were to hand stitch bags from scratch, that would take us much longer. Sewing is probably one of the slower or the fastest parts of making.
Yeah, when
at
you're
this
making
point.
bags, it's like
With a machine.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you picked the sweatshop for your vegan bags?
What is it?
Trevor being clever.
What do you say?
He said, did you pick the sweatshop for your vegan bags?
Get out of here.
He's being a clown.
Thank you, dude.
You clown?
You've been watching lots of Scottish TV.
Yeah, it's true. You know how we feel about vegan leather. It's all plastic.
Sorry, I won't have my back to you this one.
What else was I going to talk about?
No, you got a little sketch pad.
I think I went through, I just wrote down a couple things that I didn't want to forget, and we went through them. I'll just stare at you awkwardly. Oh. I just finished this book, which is kind of topical and funny. YouTube Secrets. It's just kind of, I guess these two creators just wrote about their experience and how they feel like you can be successful on YouTube. I mean, it's not really that different than any kind of social media. I found like it's like about being consistent. It's about having engaging content. So like that's so vague, right? I'm with you. Vegan leather is a marketing scam. Yeah.
Oh, it's greenwashing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's interesting. Not something I would choose to do.
Like,
And
it's terrible.
and
It's interesting.
the longevity of it's just not there. So like you can't even claim there's not a lot of good reasons to. Like I understand from an ethical standpoint why people would choose that, but in my opinion, just go vintage. Go look for a vintage leather jacket. Go look for a vintage bag. Something that's created that you can like keep in like the circular economy. Sorry, hold on a second.
Also, all the leather we use is coming from the meat industry. Like it's a byproduct. So
Why do you only do 30, 40, and short videos? I don't know. Shorts, we like to do. They're just fun. Patterns. Do you have any tips for converting hand stitch patterns for machine? There are a few sewing machine patterns available out there. Sorry to be a chat hog. I think you kind of have to just go through. There are some differences. You kind of have to make it on a machine to kind of figure it out. Like you might need a different seam allowance. You might need to do something slightly different process-wise. Like I feel like hand stitching can be very forgiving because you can just make the holes and do it. Do you have any advice converting a hand stitch pattern to a sewing machine pattern? It's hard to say without like seeing a specific pattern.
yeah, it would depend on what it is. I think that I have a bird or something. Or an email.
Do you use the Cobra 26 for your hats? No. Let's see. Yes, and they won't wind up in landfill for the next 300 years. Exactly. Hello from Japan. Wow. Do you need me to look at that?
Yeah. But either needs a new needle or
What?
needs a bird.
You want to talk to these people?
Yeah. Or something. Or something. Yeah, okay, I can do this part. Hello. So wait, so the YouTube one, they will pop up questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Or up to date.
Okay.
Okay, let's just look.
I can't reach that, but
I know,
like,
you're
no
short.
way,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's fine. Oh. I have a handbag my great grandfather made in 1947. It looks amazing. Natural veg tan leather will last a few lifetimes.
Yes.
Vegan leather is rubbish. You might as well buy a paper bag. Exactly. You get it.
Yes.
I think we found the people that understand.
Yeah. I agree fully with all
think as more and more transparency, like in how things are made, happens, I think it's hard to hide. Like, you have to really hide things.
Mm-hmm.
You should talk about the podcast.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I've definitely mentioned this podcast before on here, but if you guys are looking for a good podcast to listen to, it's good. It's mostly about like, kind of like the history, even though that sounds very boring, like the history and like the why of fashion, and it's very interesting. But the latest episode, it's called Articles of Interest. Highly recommend it. All of their seasons, all of their episodes I found really interesting, but the latest one they did was about like factories, and kind of how they became what they are and why they tend to have just terrible, horrific working conditions and all that jazz. And it was very, I mean, it wasn't anything that I was like completely shocked by. I think the history part was the part that I actually had no idea of. And then the auditing part that they talked about was just like, I don't want to give it away in case you guys want to watch it. There was a comment there, Nick, and it's faded away. Why does it do that?
I don't know, Anne. I'm not an engineer. Exactly. I believe if you pay good money for something, you know it's going to last through many generations when it comes to leather quality. Yeah, especially if you take care of it.
But yeah, articles of interest, highly suggest. I gotta pull some stitches out. Not my favorite thing, but it happens every so often. You gotta change out your needle, or you get a burr, something like that, and I end up with flags. Yeah. Sorry, this is so confusing. Flags.
Contrary to popular belief, mistakes.
That's right. Luckily, I've been doing this so long, I mostly know how to fix all of them. So like I can pull these stitches out and resew it and it'll be fine. I listened to the auditing part. Yeah, blew my mind. Thanks for the recommendation. So cool. Yeah, thanks for listening to it. I'm so glad that people are listening to it. It's crazy. It was really cool. It's really cool to hear all that stuff. I mean, it's also really sad. But it just makes you think.
Well, when you learn about stuff, you can change your
actions,
right?
Yeah. In the end, I walked away at the end of the episode feeling like, this just kind of feels a little bit like a complete crapshoot. But at the same time, like that's why it's so important that we shop the way that we shop with intention, as best as we can. Because that's the other thing too. Like a really good friend of mine owns a refillery. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically like a no waste store where you can go with your jar and like get laundry detergent and fill up your jar, and she sells other products as well that are just like everything is recyclable. Or
are you sewing single or double?
Double, but when I do the milled,
I just need to know where you were at.
Slightly off. Like
you're doing.
When I'm doing milled, I have to do it at like a.
Fine.
Yeah, like a 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
But anyways, one thing that she's very environmentally knowledgeable, and like one thing that she always says, like when she gets a new customer or whatever, kind of has that conversation about like buying things with intention and with like the smallest amount of waste as possible, is like, it's okay. You don't have to be perfect, right? You do not have to be perfect. Like, it's just about trying our best to make some small changes, and I always love that she does that, because she makes it so.
Well, in the long term, that puts pressure on companies to do that.
Right.
Too.
If we all made little changes, it actually makes a big change. So like.
Well, they're following the money.
Right. And one of the. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll put these out into it. Was it just the needle?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it started making that like Can you see a difference in the needle? Oh yeah, it's like dented on the one side. Forgot what I was saying.
Hello.
Oh, there's a question. I can't. Things.
You're fired.
I can't reach it. Do we get them both?
I love how you guys run a business as a husband and wife. I take my hat off to you both. I'll have to check the podcast. Cool.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And it's weird working with your spouse, let me tell you.
I find it to be pretty fine.
I saw your video on how you bend the leather at the seam
Oh,
by
yeah.
hand. That takes a lot of tolls on the fingers.
Yeah, it does. It does.
What do you do with all your leather scraps? That's a good
Great
question.
question.
So we have a weird system where they first go to the floor on the carpet over here, and then
like a nice pile.
in a pile,
Yeah.
and then I sort them by something that's usable for us and not, and then if it is, it goes into bins underneath this table. If not, it goes into this bin over here, and then we eventually sell them for scrap for people that want to make small goods.
Yes. So once every couple of months we do a scrap sale. And I think, did you leave the scrap up as an item so you can be?
I did. Yes. So it's a product on our Make With Us section.
Yeah.
As
will
a
say-
large box.
Right, and it will say sold out right now. But you can sign up on that product page to be notified when it comes back.
They will be in what I'm calling a medium-sized box, or what USPS calls a medium-sized box next time. But they're always done by weight, so it's not going to change
Right.
necessarily the pricing. But yeah, we don't sell them to like make a ton of money. We just want
No.
someone to use them, and then
We basically do it
Repurpose
so the least amount of leather is going into the garbage.
new subscriber and new to the live. Thanks for this. I'll
Yeah.
join next time and see. Cool.
Awesome, thanks for joining us.
Harbor Freight has a small sheet metal brake that will help with that. With bending. Look into it.
Oh, interesting. I don't find that to be too hard with the leather that we use. It can be very dependent on which leather you're using.
Can you
Too.
write the name of the podcast you told about?
I think.
Of course, there's a problem with my phone, so I have trouble hearing you properly.
Oh, is it still in our stories right now?
I don't know. It might be.
So two things. I think it's still up in our stories with like a clickable link to go to the podcast through Apple Podcast. But if that doesn't work, just DM us. I'll send you a link to it. But it's called Articles of Interest.
Articles of interest. Articles of interest. Say it quieter.
Yeah, that'll help.
I know. But someone asked about our machines earlier, so we get them from all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
This is from the sewing machine is from Leather Machine Company out of California. And that's a Cobra Class 26. We have two of them.
Yeah, we just recently.
Where did you
got this.
mention your custom branded flag? So we got that from a company called Pointer and Pine.
Yes. We're called
They
something else.
were called BC Burnings, which
That's right.
I think is his name, or it's, something like that. But Pointer and Pine. He does them. He's a small business too. He does them. Does great flags. I think he also has the opposite. He has like black and white, like black ground, and then you have the white ground with black letters. So yeah, he's a great small business to help out. Yeah, we got that very early on.
Yeah, it was a birthday present.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have her back to you now. All the time.
Sorry, just want to things. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of work while we chit chat because
Yeah, we have stuff to do.
we got a lot.
What else do you want to share? Feel free to jump in with questions. We really do appreciate that. Especially I do, because I don't know what to talk about. I got a new tape dispenser. It's Best year of my life.
You have definitely talked about that more than once.
It's so great. And it has a weight on the tape so that it gets evenly wet, like, and you just pull it and it gets a consistent size each time. It's awesome. So I watched your hour in the shop video yesterday. What's with the wrist twist when using the glue? So Leanne does this.
It's to
When
get
she's
the little
done.
It makes like a little hair of glue at the end, and it makes it so it goes onto the bottle and onto my leather.
It's flair.
It's
She's just trying to show off.
Oh my god, what if that is what that'd be so funny.
Just moves her arms while she sews.
What if I was like, I have a weird wrist disease where I have to get around? Yeah, that's what thank you.
Yeah, I just need to, every Monday I need to just change the needle. I'll just oil everything and change the needle. Because at this rate, it's just what we have to do. Neck tape job on shipping boxes is worth the price of an H&H bag alone. Oh, we can talk about this too. That reminded me.
Yes.
So we're going to be adding dust bags finally.
You like how I read your mind though?
Yeah, you always do. It's what 25 years and knowing somebody will do.
I'm working with them a lot.
Yeah, so much time together.
Yeah.
So we're adding dust bags, which is super exciting. It's an organic cotton, and I placed an order for 2 other sizes, so I can do our bigger bags and our smaller ones, because we have a medium-sized one right now. So those will, when we get them all in, they'll be a part of what happens now. And we'll probably not have a use for the wood wool that we used to use, so less disposable things, which is always great. And then that also eliminates the plastic.
Yeah. That's the best part.
We wrap things in plastic just to keep them safe, but we're taking a little bit of a risk. We haven't had any problems with wetness.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes.
I think it's a risk worth taking.
Yeah. If one bag in like
right
500
gets damaged
gets
or
damaged,
wet,
you know.
hey, we just saved all that plastic from like.
I think it's worth it. Single-use plastic is done. So.
Yes. So yay, dust bags. How much wood wool do we have left?
It's like a compressed like block, so.
I'm just wondering what else we could do with it.
I'm sure we can find someone that might need it.
Can we use
Well,
it?
we'll still need it for some smaller things. Potentially.
Yeah.
We'll see. Wood wool can be used for stuffing teddy bears. That's true.
Is that my mom?
Yeah, of course.
That's true. And I did like the wood wool.
So it's her way of casting her wand and producing magic.
That's what it is. No, it's like when you glue, there's like a little, like a spider web. So like, it's magic.
Bagula. Or something.
It was like you're being Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's all I got. Bagtronus.
Bagtronus.
Yeah, you got a laugh from YouTube. It's interesting doing a double live.
It is. Actually, I think it's working better than I thought it would, except for the disappearing comments, but maybe we can figure that out.
I don't know. Is there a setting on YouTube where you can just keep the comments up the whole time? Because that would be awesome.
It looks like that's what you're pushing, but it doesn't actually seem to happen. Thank God you have long arms. It's got the monkey arms.
Little arms. Oh, so the next book I'm reading, which no one asked about, is called Make It Right
Make it right.
by Kevin Snook.
I feel like it's story time.
This is about manufacturing. So
Ooh, that's cool.
I always like to get a different perspective on what we're doing. So obviously we make stuff, so like why not look into how manufacturing works and see if we can adopt anything that makes sense. Or, in the future, if that's what we decide to do, is produce our own stuff by teaching, local people how to make our bags. It would be just good information to have. So just taking it up a notch. Who's the illustrator?
For your book.
My book? I don't think there's pictures. There's usually not pictures in my books.
Just Wes's.
I read a lot of nonfiction, so no schematics. We went through books.
You truly are.
And this is the 12th book of the year.
Yes.
Where are y'all from? So we're in Pennsylvania right now.
And any other time that you see us,
Sure, usually.
Yes, we live
We
in
can usually
Pennsylvania.
be found in Pennsylvania.
Just outside Philly. So not like fully geo-locate ourselves or whatever that's
I think you're reading the wrong books if there's no pictures. Yeah, I think I'm reading the right books.
called.
There we go. Back to working.
Sorry.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. It's not a long one, so
So it'll be done in a day.
yeah, it's like a day read, depending on how much time I get. Just a day read. I finished the deluxe book, and it was really insightful about the luxury industry. I'm currently on rethinking prestige branding. Basically, quality is king. Yeah, new to leathercraft. Yeah, deluxe is 1, 2, 3. It's a 6th book. That's 6 books away for me. But I'm excited to read about that. Yeah, the luxury market is pretty interesting in a lot of different ways. I think for so many brands at this point, the difference between like what they're producing and like their perception is just so big. Like the gap is huge. So for brands like us that want to produce something high quality and not necessarily charge $10,000, I find it super interesting. I've got the YouTube and Instagram live going at the same device. It's funny how there's a delay and you're mirrored on Instagram. Oh, that's why it looks a little bit weird. Interesting. That's funny that you're on both. super fan. The question is why. I mean, why are we on both? See, they want to see if there's inconsistencies in what we're telling each one. I'm visiting Nazareth this summer. Is that far from you? Do you have a store people can see your products? So we don't have a store or a place that's open to the public. That's a good question. And Nazareth isn't super close, but I believe that's where Martin guitars are made, if I'm not mistaken.
Where is that?
It's north of us. It's at least an hour away, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I feel like a lot of luxury brands like start and like they try to maintain their quality as long as possible, and then it always goes down. Like it's just crazy, and like I can't decide if that's just purely a cost thing, or just like they're just chasing after the customer that like a different customer.
Yeah.
It's yeah. You're right. That's why it's familiar sounding. Yeah, Nazareth is where Martin guitars are made. It's near Rochester. It's near Rochester, New York. That's interesting.
Isn't there a Rochester, Pennsylvania?
They said New York.
What?
They said New York. I'm not like remembering my state geography that well right now. I have a Martin guitar. Fun fact. It was like the most expensive thing I ever bought when I bought it in college.
Can you go to the Martin Guitar Factory and like see
I'm sure you can do tours.
That'd be so cool. I bet Wes would love that.
If I remember correctly, they are like running out of this very specific type of wood that they use for the necks.
Is it a rosewood?
I think. I may have already. Yeah, no one cares about that. What else we got? Oh. we're usually very happy with our box company, but they were a little offset. And I have to give them
Just a little.
I have to give them a lot of credit. They sent us a new set of boxes.
Yes.
So it's not really what I was expecting. I was expecting like maybe, I don't know, discount whatever. But they resent my order, and it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Obviously that's out of spec, but they did make it right, and I really do appreciate working with them on that.
That's Packlane for anyone wondering.
Yeah. I think their quality dropped because they fall prey to the idea that they need to maximize their profits by reducing their production costs. Yeah, I think.
Well, plus if they become very big companies and they have like boards and stuff, and
Yeah,
if they go public.
There's a lot of people deciding to do this, and it depends on what your interests are. So, like, if your company's not selecting a board that's on board with your vision of the company long term, that can be pretty rough. Every time a company quality goes down, they usually have relocated their production locations. That's
another
probably
one.
true. It's really interesting, like, just say, like, you relocate
That was
just
actually
normally, like, within, just say, US to US. It's just doing
It's
something as
going to
simple as getting a
change.
second machine and then resetting it up to be the same as the old one. It's a lot of work to, like, outfit your production to be identical. And you got like a very small taste of that here, so I can really like wrap my head around.
That was another thing that came up in the podcast that I was talking about. That companies like are very willing to quickly change from one factory to another without a blink of an eye.
Really?
Yes.
I guess they have to give that perception so that they can get the lowest price possible. That's what I would think.
No, I mean that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's messed up.
You would think you'd want to invest in what you're doing. I don't know. No one wants to invest in anything, apparently. That's so sad. I want one of the offset boxes. It's like one of those offset coins. Like it'll be a collector's item eventually. Who made your boxes? These are from Packlane. I think they have two production areas. I feel like one's in Tennessee. And one's in California, I think. Hello from Argentina. Hello.
Oh, and just again for our new followers, not that we have an answer on it yet, but we did shoot a course with Domestica. That should be coming out sometime in 2023. We do not have a date yet.
Yeah, this past October, we did filming.
And the course teaches you how to make a bag. It comes with a pattern, and a list of tools. It's
Resources.
Yep, all kinds of stuff, and a ton of stuff.
We talk about like leather, different types of leather.
Our inspirations, pattern, all that stuff. So that is coming.
And then there's like the video how to make the bag, which is
of
cool.
course, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
What is your favorite leather? Ooh. I know mine is.
You know what yours is?
I'm not allowed to say it that loud though. I'm just kidding. What's your favorite leather?
Are we talking like favorites?
There's no other specifics besides that.
I'm just
what
gonna
the
say
question was.
veg tan bridal.
That's good. That's a good answer. I'm really partial to the Putero. Veg tan. Italian. Putero?
Nobody knows.
Call it Putero.
I mean, someone knows, not us.
My only issue with the Italian leathers is you can't get strap weight. I would love to do a special edition version of some of our bags in that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yes.
Do you have any advice for leather stamps and leather carving?
We don't do any carving, so I feel like I can't help with that.
I feel like
We don't. We do stamping up just like our logo. It's not.
it always messes up. Concierge Walpierre. Concierge Walpierre Putero. That's correct. It's the best.
I don't have any good advice. I'm sorry. I wish I did. And I'm trying to think of who I could even point you to.
By the way, the live on YouTube is awesome. I hope you save them sometime. It's really worth rewatching.
Oh yeah.
Watching the
If we
information.
can figure
Yeah,
out how
well,
to do that, we will absolutely.
Yeah, I posted the one from yesterday, which
Oh,
literally
okay.
was us working, not talking at all to the screen.
Yeah.
I was just trying it out.
How do you feel about that?
People liked it.
Okay.
All the people, all the person.
Although a couple people.
What were we talking about?
Stamping and.
Oh, stamping and carving. We use brass stamps if that helps you.
I feel like what they're talking about though, so like Mean Jean does lots of stamping. She would
Yeah.
be somebody I would look at.
I mean, it's the type of leather you get, and then I believe you wet it, right?
Yes.
And then you
What
carve.
do they call that? When they
But
web it?
we're not really knowledgeable on that, and I don't want to tell you the wrong information.
No, I'd rather just point you into the direction of someone who's really good at it. Whose podcast did we do?
I think Weaver Leather has videos on that stuff too. Have you? What's up?
See, this is the.
Oh. What about starts and stops on the sewing machine? Do you hand crank it first to reverse stitch? And have you seen how long you do a long pull on an end to have a long tail? Okay. You don't have to hand crank anything at all, almost with
The only-
EPS. Because this person asked about EPS.
Yeah, I understand. The only thing that I do quote unquote hand crank, I'm not even doing a full stitch, I'm just piercing the very first stitch so it's exactly where I want it. Other than that, I don't ever really hand crank it at all.
Yeah, there's not really a time when you need the needle to be like in the middle.
Right.
And the only time I do that is when I'm looking at the shuttle hook.
And like, one thing I will say, it took me a little bit to figure this out. So, if like, let's say you're doing one long consecutive stitch, like you're stitching around a circle, right? And you get to like the end stitch where it's meant to like meet up with the very first stitch, and it's like, if it's like slightly short or something like that. I finally figured out if I just back tap it so that the needle goes, I stop one stitch before, I back tack it so it goes or not back tack it, I back click the pedal so it goes all the way up. Then I do hand crank it into that very first stitch because it's going all the way around. So putting it into there, then I tap it forward so it goes in, tap it forward so it does a stitch, and like back tack it like I normally would.
Does veg tan come in the colors you use? Yeah, we only use veg tan.
Yep.
Speaking of limited time production, I'd love to see what y'all create with exotic skins or embossed cow. I don't know if we're gonna do something like that, but wedding the leather is called casing.
Casing. I was like, it starts with. I was saying casting in my head, and I was like, it's not right.
Yeah, we haven't really played around with exotics.
It's not something I'm honestly that super interested in personally for our stuff.
Never say never, but I don't think
Yeah.
that that's something that we're pursuing at this time. Sorry, I'm getting questions everywhere. Did you study a department related to leather in university? No.
No.
We studied creative
Illustration.
brains.
No, we did not do that.
Creative arts.
We were in illustration. We were illustration majors.
Creativity. It's narrative. It's
Okay. No, we went to school for illustration.
creative. We're creative people. Doesn't look like it.
That is true, but what we studied in school was illustration.
That's true. We did do that. That's what our degrees are in.
Yeah.
But not like fabric, not
No.
like
Just a subject.
fibers or anything.
No.
I'm trying to say that it taught us creative problem solving, and that's really what we learned.
That is true.
And that sometimes what's out in the world you have to make yourself because it's not out there yet.
When was the last time you oiled her?
I'm gonna have to do that soon.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell.
If you do try to use exotics, could easily see the Bowery bag closing strap with some contrasting alligator. Yeah, that's probably the only bag that would make a whole lot of sense for something like that. Like how I look over at it. It's not there. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, we really like bridal because it fits really nicely with the designs that Leanne makes. And we're really, I know our next exploration is going to be with using the milled, which is like a tumbled veg tan.
Yeah.
Looks like a pebble.
We actually started off with it being sort of.
We had a tote a long time ago.
Yeah. Maybe a couple things.
I don't even think was
We
it
got
the Millie tote. No, not the
No.
Millie tote. The
Molly.
Molly tote, close.
And then also the Veda.
And the Veda, which was a great design.
Yes.
It
did
but
well.
but it stopped. We reached the point where it no longer fit the
And with
collection.
Yeah.
Um,
But now I feel like I found a way to use the milled and make it feel like it goes with what we're
Yeah.
doing.
I agree. I'm really excited to see some of these things.
Me too. Me too. Someone, when they were asking about like the EPS and like they asked about the long tail,
Yeah.
meaning the thread, right? I assume.
Yeah, like why you.
So the reason I do that is because I will hand wrap the end stitch around things sometimes, and then I also like, pulling it back through with a needle so that all the threads are on the back and burnt on the back rather than being something that is visible on the front. So I always do have a nice long tail.
They just keep checking on YouTube because they go away. It's so weird. If you guys know how this works, that would be great to know how to keep
Why is that not in your
comments up forever instead of having to click a button.
Maybe you can
Fringe
it.
bags too.
Yeah, the Veda would like that.
It's interesting the color difference on each of these.
I thought that too. The Instagram
Is that the
very
milled
pinky.
harness and olive? Do they have navy milled and harness? Or does it come in milled bridle? So we have
Yeah, you can
both.
grab the Betty.
Alright, be right back.
Just FYI, I typically work much faster than I'm currently working.
She's being lazy.
Slow coach over here.
So that's all the milled colors. Actually, this one is incorrect.
Yes, instead you can grab.
It looks like this. It's sienna, but it's
Milk.
milled. And this was buck brown, which is what we used to use, which is a little bit lighter.
Yeah, when we did.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. But here's the blue.
Hold it up for the Insta.
It's like hard to tell. In person, it's like much more rich, and then the edge paint's like really beautiful. I'm always surprised how much I like the edge paint.
Yeah, that's real pretty.
But these are the prototype eddies. Are those rivet magnets from Bucket Bag? These aren't. These are. We do have rivet magnets that we use for some of our bags. For most of the bags on the one side. But these are the, what do they call them? Like you press. Yeah.
But they're like really mini magnets.
They're small magnets and they're really painful to do a bunch of them.
Oh, they really are. And I
You basically make your thumbs fall off.
Yeah, I made Nick do a bunch of them yesterday for me.
But yeah, we love Buckle Guy hardware.
And I love those magnets though that we got them specifically for making the Bettys and Sallys. They're really super strong, but they're tiny and super thin, so you don't add a lot of bulk to the bag or the wallet.
But yes, those are harness.
Yes.
I believe someone has a. I don't think they're offering it in bridal because someone, it's like, it might be, what's the right word?
I'm not sure where to.
I have a feeling it was developed with another company, so they are not offering the bridal to other people besides that company, I think.
Oh, milled bridal, you're saying?
Yeah, the milled bridal. Thank you so much on YouTube, found handy leather, stamping and carving leather. There you go. Yeah, I think it's like a natural leather that takes well to stamping and carving.
What was that?
And someone threw a Betty.
Ah, she fell off.
We got ghosts down here. I've been putting rivet magnets on everything. It's so much easier. It's so much better.
I just wish the backing could be thinner. That's my
Yeah. I wish they had different options for how tall the post was so that you could do it on a single piece of leather. We end up putting a leather washer behind it.
Well, that's 2 pieces of leather, so we're making it into 3 pieces basically. Going for the washer. Really?
On like a front panel. So like it's like this, but with
Oh,
so it's
I
just
see what
two.
you're saying. Oh, yeah, what?
I don't know. We're done.
My brain's
We're
farted. Fire. See you guys later.
See ya.
Leave.
And that's how we ended the company. Can you move this way? Be in camera for once.
Well, your leg was in the way.
Yeah.
You had your wiggle. Spread out.
I oiled my shoes this morning.
Wes was excited to watch you for some reason.
He was. Early morning shoe oiling.
What time is it?
What ounce of leather do you use on your bags? About 5 ounce. 4.5 to 5 ounce.
For most, yeah. The
There is
milled we're doing thinner.
so leather naturally changes. I'm in Napa. Recommend anything from Hyde House. We've never used them. Hyde House. Forgot what I was saying. Yeah, we
Ounces of
use.
leather.
Okay. So yeah, it'll naturally vary even on a hide. We try to pick the best for each design. Like for me, like the Stella needs the thickest we can offer.
Mm.
Sometimes that's not really an option. But we do try to pick like the leather weight that makes the most sense with the bags. And it doesn't sound like 1 ounce would be a big difference, but it can be a pretty big difference. Like we use the thicker stuff
Oh yeah.
as like a backer too, because this is like a filler in the Sally. So it goes here to add some weight
And some structure
and
to
structure.
the lid.
Do you have any tips for prepping for leather edge paint? Yes.
So we only burnish with water. It just, I feel
We're
like,
going to assume you're using a veg tan
right. We have to assume that you're
that's
using,
not milled or pebbled.
right. Well, that wouldn't even matter, but, oh, you could do the same.
It
Doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely you want to use veg tan. Oh, that's not true. You can edge paint on chrome tan, but like for what I'm specifically talking about, the better you sand, the better you bevel, the better you burnish, the better edge you're gonna get. We do only burnish with water just because it makes you're not leaving any sort of residue on the edge, so it's not so that the edge paint can adhere to the leather properly, and you don't have to worry about anything like peeling up or cracking or anything like that. But yeah, the better you do those things, the better your edge is going to look in the end. People always ask us what paints we use, and my absolute favorite is, I say it wrong every time, so I apologize. Oh, a question popped up, Nick. Vernus is my favorite. I'm saying it like phonetically.
We're not even sure if it's real.
And then my second favorite is
Look at
Uniters.
the Oxford sides if you want chrome tan. They're just answering another person.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. That's helpful too.
We get both of those from Rocky Mountain.
Close I can get.
Great. I'm gonna sit on your lap while I'm working here.
Oh no.
Oh, he has coffee. Did you have coffee already? It's your first cup.
Everyone be calm. Everybody calm down.
And we all know you're not meant to have more than one.
I know. It's fine though. Everyone's fine with it.
What are you doing? Just put water in there.
I did. It's mostly water.
Sure is.
Whoa. There it goes. You can't even see what she's doing.
Here it goes.
Wow. I'm so impressed.
Super cool.
Super cool.
Right in there.
Let's talk about pre-loved
Oh,
programs.
butters.
What did you do wrong?
Well, typically I sand, bevel, burnish paint this, where it's not attached to the other part of the bag because it's a lot easier.
That's not fun.
I
You can still do it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just do it the way it is.
So we have a program, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, about like keeping things in circulation. We offer a way to like kind of trade in your bag for a new bag. So if you send us in, there's a whole way to do it. We have a pre-loved section on our site that explains it, but you basically send in your bag and then you get a discount on your next bag. Then we refurbish your current bag and then resell it so that someone else can enjoy it. If you find that like it's sitting on the shelf somewhere, or you're not using it as much as you like, or you just want to upgrade. Yeah. So just trying to keep everything
usable.
Going. You're funny.
I know I'm weird. It's fine.
Yeah, weirdo.
You're not weird, please.
Very strange. I enjoy working with 2.5 to 3 millimeter bridle. Yeah, it's a good range.
Depends on what you're making. If you're doing wallets, you want thinner stuff. Type of bag you're making too.
Yeah, we try to balance like the thickness of leather with the weight of the bag. So like if we were using like 8-ounce leather,
Oh god.
that'd be not that fun to sew. But it would also be like a 15-pound bag.
Yeah.
So if you want to lug around your bowling ball, that's fine. But we try to find like a good compromise.
I mean, typically bag weight is
Yeah, we're not like out of the realm of bag weight.
no.
Not like we're making leather wallet weight bags. Ugh. Disgusting. Alright, let's see. Have you ever used Wicket and Craig's Latigo? We have.
Yes.
It's a little more oily, and I think it's a little more dense. I really like the leather.
I think it's oily.
I guess oily is not the right word.
I don't think it's oily. It's waxy. I almost feel like.
Yeah, that's better weighted.
Which is like a weird. It's kind of like a weird thing for leather, but it's cool. I mean, it's definitely fun to work with.
We were the russet we're using is Latigo. We liked it because the only other option at the time was the harness, and the harness really
It's so shiny. And
it was shiny and it scratched so easily.
You look at it wrong way and it's like, nope, got scratch.
Like it's gorgeous stuff. It's just it wasn't for what we were using. It's not what we wanted.
Yeah.
So we talked to our rep over there at Wicket and Craig, and he pointed us to Latigo. And they were at the time still figuring out how to get that color in bridle. So I don't know if like it's an official thing they're doing, but you know, there it is. To answer your question, yes. And then the Latigo. To give you an idea, it starts off like this and ages so nicely. So these were the same color at one point. And that's this. Alright, it's the first time we're going to do this.
So
We're threatening to leave.
Threatening to leave if you guys don't have any other
Yeah, if you don't have anything else.
questions.
We gotta get out.
I'm sure you don't want to just stare at us.
I'm gonna just stare at you.
At me?
Has the black veg tan been dyed by you? Do you always stand and sew? So the leather comes to us dyed. We knew from the beginning that we did not want to mess with that. It's a messy process, and it can be, it's not fun. in my opinion.
It's
So,
not something I'm interested in either. I don't find joy in that. I'm sure there are people that do though.
Yeah, you can mix your own colors. There's like pros and cons, but
Yeah.
it's also would slow down our process just considerably. And we like the colors that we get from Wicket and Craig. We are thinking about in the future a proprietary color that would be for us only. And then yes, sewing, standing up is like a thing.
I like it. It's no other reason.
No other reason.
I just like it. I feel most comfortable doing it that way.
How long did it take to patina to that color?
That's a
The
good
Luna
question.
took from what's that? A year and a half.
Yeah, but I don't wear that bag that often. It would go way faster
Yeah.
than that.
So that's showing about a year and a half, which is probably like 6 months to a year in the real world.
If like you're using it
If
every
you're
day,
using it
it'd
daily.
probably be done in like a month or two.
True. And you can condition it to really like set that process, like to fast forward that process. So if you know you want to get that nice aged patina, you can condition the leather, and it'll start that really really quick. Or you can put it in the sun and do the same thing, like sunburn. How many pieces of clothing have you ruined getting the edge dye on yourself? Oh man, for me it's like I get spots,
Edge
like
dye?
weird spots
edging.
sometimes.
I don't get it on me that often.
I need to get some new clothes, so like I'm really failing
Yeah.
wearing like the same clothes all the time. It's such a process now. Everything, I feel like an old man, but everything I buy, like it's not there again when I go to buy it again, and I get frustrated. So I enjoy restored 46-year-old bags for a lady, full repair, new hand saddle stitch, looks amazing, vintage look. That's cool. That's a lot of, that's a labor of love right there. But it must be so cool to restore something, something like that.
I mean, even just restoring some of our bags for the vintage,
Yeah.
for the preload program.
Yeah, when we get stuff back for preload and like fix it up, it's a lot of fun. What is dyed veg tan called? It's just vegetable tan. I don't think there's like a specific name for it. Most places, like natural is like undyed, so that's probably. I mean, you could probably just search for whatever color you're looking for, like black, brown, vegetable tan, leather.
The tanning is just the tanning process.
Yeah.
So veg tan, it's the tanning process they're talking about.
And chromium typically comes in like a bigger range of colors. What was the dyed veg that you mentioned that takes a stamp? I mean, we stamp all of our vegetable tan stuff.
Yeah.
We hot stamp, and we also just emboss. So, veg tan, no matter what, will take a stamp. And yeah. Unless I'm misunderstanding your question. But like, if you're looking for carving, like a tooling leather is what you're looking for.
Yes. Definitely.
Like a natural tooling leather. And then usually, if you want color on that, you have to dye it.
I think
That might be what they're thinking. And there's lots of dyes out there. We don't have a lot of experience with it, so I don't want to point you in any direction there. How is the flesh side of the bridle? Do you treat it or leave it as is? So it's refinished is what it's called. Let me grab one. I don't know how this is going to translate, but like here's the front side, and then here's the back side of the black. So it's called refinished and gun pasted. So it's like nice and smooth. It looks just as nice as the front. You can stamp on any veg tanned, but not swivel knife if it's not natural. That's a
There
really
you
good
go.
point. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, swivel knife is a whole world that we're not familiar with. I bought the milled Wicket and Craig on the flesh side. It was scratchy.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never had that.
So here's milled. Yeah, I never had that either. And then here's the flesh side of that. You might not have asked. I don't know if you asked for it to be refinished from them. Maybe call them up and just ask them like what you can ask for, if that makes sense. So, but it's called refinished. We get it split and refinished. Scratchy as in not treated well. I mean, sometimes on the edges it'll get that way.
Like by the belly.
But like that's when you find like a looser grain, and like that's generally not usable leather for us anyway. It's labeled as harness or English bridle. It's guaranteed to be veg tanned. It's usually dyed. Also, one side of leather is more expensive than the rest. It's probably veg tanned. That's true. Veg tanning is a long and expensive process, so any leather that is veg tanned will cost more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's usually like $100 more a side, roughly. Another thing to note is like the square footage, the average square footage you get. So some will be as big as 28 square feet, some will be 14 square feet. So you might be getting a $200 piece of veg tan double shoulder, 14 square feet, almost all usable yield. Or you can get a whole side, which is like 20, could be 24 to 28 square feet, and you know you can't use the entire thing. You're losing about 30% roughly. Can you buy directly from Wicket and Craig? Just a few hides? Yeah, you can buy one. You can buy one hide from them. They're great. You can ask them whatever you want.
Yeah, you do have to call them on the phone.
You have to call them. It's old school. You have to talk to them. Which is fine. And it will take longer to get your stuff. So like
yes.
when we order from Buckle Guy, they have it in stock. It goes out. When we get it from Wicket and Craig, we order about 2 to 3 weeks out, and that's how long it takes. And you know, if you're planning, that's totally fine. And we're in PA, so for us, either one is fine. You just have to plan a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you're getting it directly from them. And you get to talk to them, and they say things like, "We might see gray," and then gray comes out, which is cool. I do wish it was a little darker.
Yes, I do too.
But it'll age, so it could be fine.
That's true.
How much do you normally produce? A lot. Many bags.
Well, and it
Depends on the design.
grows every year too.
Yeah, and we're getting faster. So
Yep.
that number
thinking this
keeps
is
getting
your
higher,
coffee.
which is odd. Back in the day, it was like a bag a week.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
And that was good.
And that was like, yes. Now we're pros. I purchased your Greta pattern to make for my wife. Made it in black, however, used gunmetal accessories. Saw your video on bending edge. I'm a roofing contractor and have a 10-foot sheet metal brake, so I use it to bend all the leather. That's
Oh
cool
my
to get
goodness.
a crisp. Yeah, that's smart. That's why I mentioned the hardware fair production. Oh, got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that's much easier.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Thanks for buying the pattern. I hope she
thank
loved her
you.
bag. That's a really like good introduction. That's like a typical saddlebag style
Yeah.
bag that I think most people can wrap their brains around. And it's named after our standard poodle, Greta. I got gray from Bad Lassie Carlo and love the color, but aged kind of greenish. Interesting.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Well, even when you ordered that one gray from the Italian company.
I'm convinced they sent us the wrong
the
thing.
Hyde.
Because that was like almost olive.
I mean, we could match it to our olive, basically. Yeah. You could use olive edge paint on it.
Or maybe I got like taupe or something. Whatever I got, I don't think I got what I thought I got.
Yeah.
Or maybe I ordered the wrong thing. That was a long time ago. I do love how dense the Italian leathers are, and they're always a little thicker. And they also just patina beautifully.
I'm mad at myself for.
all make mistakes. So that's why she bought Pamela. She doesn't want you to see how frustrated she is.
No, it's fine. It's not gonna change
Just
anything. It's just it's just gonna make me take a little bit longer. Oh, everybody.
There you go, Mike.
My hair dryer, they gotta fight, right?
If I give you my own model, can you make a special order? So that's not something that we do.
No.
Yeah, it's not a service we offer. We're busy with what we're doing. And if we stopped to make everyone else's thing, it would be
We would never
pretty
get
difficult
ours.
and very expensive for you. So
Yeah.
we're not set up to take on custom orders, so we don't. We don't want to produce something that's not like in our standard of work, and we don't want to. We also want everything to be cohesive in what we're doing. So if we're producing somebody else's thing, inherently it's not going to be from like our vision.
Right.
But thank you for asking.
And there are people out there that will do that.
Yeah, we get people that ask us to produce for them all the time. Whether it's a line of bags for them or wallets or whatever.
Or one single item.
Or one item. You'll find it's very difficult to get one custom item made for cheap. Usually
Definitely not gonna happen.
it's like it'd be like $2.50 an hour. I expanded on the Greta idea and made some smaller presses for 2 little girls. I'll DM you a picture with. Oh, that's really
yes,
great.
Please do.
Yeah, send us a picture. That'd be really cute.
That'd be really cool. I love that.
Mini grats.
Oh, puppy grats.
Puppy grats. Yeah, there's people out there that do custom work and that's like their whole thing, but you definitely have to pay for that. No, thank you for asking. Josiah, you got any questions? You got a bag coming out
Yeah.
in 2 days, right?
What's today's date?
26. It's exciting. He's not gonna answer.
Rude.
Creep. He's creeping.
He's so creepy.
I enjoy putting different designs on from my mind into leather. I'm surprised how well the product turns out. Yeah, it's an interesting material. Any sneak peeks for the future? Not right
They're
now.
all in my brain.
A lot of them are in the brains.
But I mean, hopefully soon.
Sorry, I can't. Currently working. Alright, I won't tell your boss. Hope they're not watching. Give Josiah a raise. Yeah, we don't have any sneak peeks. The most sneak peek we have is we're working with Mild on some new ideas.
Yes.
Oh, launching tomorrow. Sorry.
Really?
I thought you said 28th on
I
your
thought that I thought.
on your Instagram, but I could be wrong.
Are you wrong about what today's date is?
I mean, I could be wrong.
That's possible.
Today's the 27th, so I'm wrong. He would know. It's his business.
Because you said it was the 26th.
If you don't hear this enough, thanks for always giving us tips and answering our questions. Oh, awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
that's so kind. Thank you so much for saying that.
That's why we do this. Somebody, like, I feel like when we were starting out, there was a couple, like, Stock and Barrel,
Yep.
Parker was awesome about answering questions. We watched Odin Leather all the time.
Yep.
There's so many people out there that, like, helped us, like, learn some stuff
That's right.
that we just want to keep paying it forward.
That's exactly right.
And I think there's a lot of people threatened by that, which is funny. But like, even if like, we just want to encourage people to do their own thing, find their own style, make their own designs, and because that's how we felt when we were doing it. There's so much room in the leather world for your own creativity. That
I also feel like most people's questions are not necessarily how we do exactly what we do. It's like, oh, what brand of this or that? You know, like, we're not trying to keep, like, gatekeep or whatever you call it.
No secrets. Do you use YKK? We do. Miss Claridge Leathers videos. Yeah, he's busy with his day job, I think.
Yeah.
And he does really great work. He does,
my goodness.
leather and in his day job.
Yes, both. They're incredible.
He works with people that need
Like
prosthetics, and he does custom prosthetics. I have to say, it was sad when Parker walked away from Stock and Barrel. Yeah, I mean, he had an opportunity in front of him, and obviously they took it,
Yep.
and they're doing something different now. I think if he's honest, he probably misses it a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're still around,
Yep.
doing their thing. It's just a little different now. I think if we share our craft, it's getting, yeah. I think if we share our craft, it's getting better, and we all win. Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree.
I mean, we pick up tips from people all the time and incorporate them, and
Definitely.
you know, what's the point of keeping it a secret if we're all gonna get better?
Just love this bag so much.
She does. She keeps talking about it. I love it. It's so great. It's not like this is a process that happens every time the bag comes out. That's my favorite.
That's true. That is true.
Love your guys' stuff. Thank you. Just so you know, you're not really visible on this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I agree with the build people up philosophy. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Now that Waterbury closed up, there is no one that can assist high quality production for small businesses. They were bought, or they were
Yeah.
changed to Nutmeg Needleworks. I think they still do leather. I don't know if they're taking like clients. I don't think they are.
Yeah, I feel like because they are producing, I think they took on like the client list that was already existed within
Which
the
included
company.
them. They were using Waterbury,
Right.
and then they own it.
Right, so they're producing their own stuff plus the clientele that was already
Yeah.
there, and I think
And
that's
I'm
enough
sure
to
things.
just keep
Yeah,
them
I'm sure
busy.
things will change. Like if they're expanding their own line, they
Right.
probably would just do it through that. But yeah, I wonder. I guess that means Stock and Barrel might be using somebody else. I don't know. You'd have to ask Thomas. Let's just gather back to you again.
Sorry.
Check your DMs. I have a good proposal for small business. All right. The EPS also sounds a little different.
Sounds like a robot.
Sounds a little robotic, and it's really funny. It's like,
I love
"Meow." If this order week for May goes as planned, I'll probably get the other one set up with EPS so that we can use them at the same time. Not that we can't now, but it's really funny. Leanne tried to use the other one, and
My muscle memory is already off.
yeah,
I
her
thought
muscle
there was
memory from
something wrong
using that
with
was
the
funny. She's
pedal.
like, what's going on here? Wait, Waterbury is now Nutmeg. Does Ernest still own the company? I believe, I could be wrong, I believe the owner is no longer there, but I believe everybody else that worked there is there.
Yeah.
Like the shop, the operations manager, and like people shifted up a role basically, if they wanted it. We don't know them. I watched some YouTube videos on their business and learned about them because we were thinking about partnering with them. So, but yeah, I don't know. I remember talking to Ernest like when the pandemic hit. I called them and talked to them a little bit, and I think I missed the boat a little bit because we didn't really understand how manufacturing worked. We still kind of don't, but well, like it's just different than how we operate. Like, I think Russ is still there. Yes, he was a wealth of knowledge and talent. Yeah, I believe he is. Like I said, I think just the owner departed, and I believe for health reasons.
Yeah.
So He sold the not the building. He sold the business and the equipment inside it. But yeah, they're a great manufacturer, which is why we wanted to partner with them a while back. Now we're thinking about what that looks like for us is growing our own manufacturing situation.
Right.
Doing it the H&H way. However that means.
Great question.
Alright, final questions and thoughts, guys.
No questions. How are you doing with your allergy? You seem a little bit better today.
I feel a little bit better. I didn't take Claritin yet.
Really?
I feel like, so my eyes aren't as itchy.
Yeah.
It rained for all night, so that's probably part of it.
Mm.
But like my eyes aren't as itchy.
Well, maybe it'll be good for you because it's supposed to
I
rain
still
like
feel
all
sinusy,
weekend.
but what are you gonna do? I need to cut the grass. I was hoping to do that today. Thanks for the inspiration. Yeah, of course. So hopefully we'll be doing this on YouTube and Instagram every week.
Yeah, I think this went pretty well.
Yeah, this went fine. I didn't want to upload like the Instagram one to YouTube. I just wanted to do them simultaneously.
Yeah, because otherwise they're like a weird format and stuff, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to mess around with that. Finally ordered my Ingrid. Awesome.
Yay!
Ingrid's
Very
beautiful.
Okay.
One of the few bags that'll fit a laptop.
Yes.
I'm so looking forward to wearing it daily. Awesome.
Yay. That's
What color did you get? See if I can see the cut out stuff in here. I can't really. Did you get sienna?
That's a good color for that bag.
That's a great color for that bag. I mean, they're all nice.
Yeah.
Sienna, yep, cool. Needle size for bigger thread. Yes. You'll need to match your needle size in your thread, if that's what you're asking. I think we use 22, which is the low end of what you should kind of use for 138 thread. But you want to make sure it all matches with your machine and stuff, and the aesthetic and the stitch you like, and your stitch length. There's so many that's the other thing. There's so many variables that you can change to make everything look unique to you, and all those little details add up to make a bigger picture. So.
And they really do like affect it like more than you think it will.
Yes. If any preloaded old totes you disconnected, pop up. Wait. If any preload old totes that are discontinued pop up, I'll get it. Preload. Got it. Cool. Yeah, we don't have any, I don't think anyone is sending anything in for preloads recently.
No,
But we haven't really been talking about it too much, so. And it was a new program, so it was exciting to see some stuff come back.
definitely. And sell like immediately.
Alright, I think we're gonna call it.
Yep.
Leanne was off camera for a lot of it.
Sorry.
And I'm your size now. Thanks for sharing today. I hope to catch some more soon. Learn more than you might think on the machine tips. Awesome. Yeah, feel like anytime. Every Thursday at 10:30 is when we usually do these. Ask all of your questions. If we don't know, we don't know. But
we'll always do our best to answer or point you in the right direction.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week.
See you then, guys. Bye.
See you.
Ooh, now you have to turn to
Bye,
off at
Lance.
the same time.
Ah, snuck on there.
Can you do it?
How do I do it? What's happening? What is this?
Why is it weird? There you go. That was strange. What did
Another
you
question: how does Nick pay back his video break while Leanne breaks while Leanne keeps working? We work on totally different schedules, which sounds weird, but works for us.
It's a video break.
Like this. Or like maybe when I'm filming too, which is also working.
No, but it's all work.
It's all work.
We just do very different work.
Yeah, we do different work. It works. It works for us. She just scowls at me from the other side of the room.
Sometimes.
That's
Where-
usually when I'm bugging you and
Did
you're
you
like,
take my lighter?
yeah, that's fine with it. So we'll see you next week.
Bye.